Here we are, going live, and we are live. Hello, everybody. This is Pitch Gold Black here, and HarryWilliamsProductions. Do you want to say hello?
Good evening.
And today we're going to be reviewing the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who, The Day of the Doctor.
So we've reviewed quite a few classics on your channel, and we probably thought it'd be a good idea to review series story for a change. And we chose Day of the Doctor, which we both watched recently. And I guess, as it's your channel, do you want to start and just give your thoughts on what you thought of it?
I personally think it was a fantastic story overall. It is debatable if it's like a proper kind of like 50th anniversary special, as it was. It doesn't feel very like a 50th anniversary special. There's very kind of few elements to it that make it feel like a 50th anniversary special. But for what it is, I think it's great actually, and I actually love it for the most part. And I think it would be something truly special if it was a lot longer and with a few more of the jokes taken out of it. But for what it is, I think this is a fantastic story, just kind of bogged down by a few bits personally.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I remember in 2014, you may remember the Doctor Who magazine poll that came out.
Yeah.
For some reason, they haven't done one since. I'm not sure why, but the Day of the Doctor was number one, which is
yeah.
very. I can sort of see why, because it was probably the most hyped up episode of all time.
Yeah.
And it is a good story. It's a great story, but it's not number one.
Definitely not. No, probably a bit of a heat of the moment type of thing as well.
Yeah, it was. But it's perfectly understandable that the 50th, it was the top spot because it's the 50th anniversary special, and I think I can't begin to imagine the amount of pressure Stephen Moffat was under to write this episode.
Yeah, same here.
Because how do you actually fit 50 years of Doctor Who into a 75-minute episode?
Yeah, and
quite a daunting challenge.
Yeah, personally, I would say he somewhat failed at doing that personally, because despite a few nice continuity references and what have you, the episode as a whole doesn't really feel much like a 50th anniversary special, and more like some big kind of special 14th episode to series 7 for me personally.
Yeah, I do think it did what it needed to do, because I'm glad they only had just a small number of Doctors in it, because I think if it had cameo, if it had say actors from if it had David Bradley in it and whatever, I think it'd be too much to handle.
Yeah.
Because how do you give a certain amount of screen time to all the actors and whatever? But I think Matt Smith and David Tennant and John Hurt were all fantastic in it. But I think, even though, as I said, John Hurt was great, I do think Paul McGann should have been in it. But I think Stephen Moffat has Doctors.
Yeah.
And John Hurt sort of he's basically the classic element of the old school, and mixing him with the new Doctors, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I can sort of see why they did that, and John Hurt was really, really good in it.
He was, yeah.
And it just, I know a lot of people were sort of a bit iffy or were unsure about this new Doctor. I mean, I was when Name of the Doctor came out, which I can't remember at all what happens in that story. But Yeah, I was a little bit sort of, really? Is he actually going to do that? But it actually worked out really well, surprisingly.
Yeah, I would say it works out really well, and I feel like the War Doctor is an absolutely fantastic concept created by Stephen Moffat, because there was no direct regeneration sequence between Paul McGann and Eccleston whenever the reboot happened in 2005. So it was really kind of ripe for opportunity to slot in another incarnation or two of the Doctor in that kind of gap, similar to kind of what some people may say about season 6 and season 7. We have that kind of bit where we don't see the second Doctor regenerate into the third.
Yeah, it does a good job of bridging the gap, and I think this was at the time when Christopher Eccleston was quite a bit pretty sour towards the BBC.
Yeah,
I know there are probably some behind the scenes drama that happened, which we still don't know the full extent of. I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean, we know that they blacklisted him pretty much.
Yeah,
but he's he pretty much is the complete opposite now towards the show, which is good. But it's a shame that Christopher Eccleston isn't in it, because he's a bit.
Yeah.
I think he is a bit older than David and Matt. So
Yeah,
there would have been a nice balance there.
There would have been, yeah.
But no, I thought John Hurt did a fantastic job, and I can remember when I don't know if they were leaked images or whatever of him wearing the hybrid costume of the 8th Doctor and the 9th Doctor. When they were shooting it, I think it was Cardiff Castle, I think it was.
Oh, right.
And everyone lost their minds speculating on what this John Hurt Doctor is.
Yeah, I can imagine that happening.
Yeah, it was a really, really exciting time for a lot of Doctor Who fans.
It was.
So I think loads of people, including myself, just bought loads of merchandise related to the 50th anniversary and whatever you could get your hands on.
That was such a lucrative time for the BBC and Doctor Who, without question. There was so much that came out for the 50th anniversary.
And even 2 freaking lost episodes as well.
Yeah.
Stories.
Yeah, even what I consider to be the greatest Doctor Who story of all time, The Enemy of the World, was announced as being found in 2013. So it was a pretty damn crazy year for the show.
Definitely. It was just bonkers.
It was.
In the announcement of David Tennant returning, and I think that was announced months way before. And talking about David Tennant, he was brilliant as well, and it was great to see him back. It was like he'd never left the role. Slotted it straight away. I've seen a few people complain that I know it's only a minor nitpick, but how his hair didn't really look right. It wasn't spiky like it usually is.
Only a Doctor Who fan would complain about something that fucking specific. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I just remember reading that comment and thinking, really? He was back for that special. What more do you need? How pedantic can you be?
Yeah.
But no, I love seeing him back. And Billie Piper was quite interesting in it, really. She wasn't Rose, but she was kind of. She was the bad wolf, the interface for the moment, which was quite an interesting idea. But she even said at one point, in this form, I'm Rose Tyler, which was a bit confusing, because then, is she actually Rose Tyler, or is she just...
Well, the thing is, the interface itself, or let's just say Bad Wolf, at one point said in the episode when she first meets the War Doctor, is that the moment tries to base the interface based on something in the Doctor's future or past, and as such it kind of based it off of Rose and the Bad Wolf entity. So I suppose it kind of based it off of that moment during the series 1 finale of where Rose was the bad wolf, or with the TARDIS energy and what have you inside her, if you remember that.
The Super Rose.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The Super Saiyan Rose.
Yeah. Yes. She's basically the interface. I guess that's what we're trying to say. That's what was established, I think.
Yeah.
And she was good in it. And she, I think her and John Hurt worked well.
They did. There was there's quite a few good jokes in this story, but there is one in particular that just made me burst out loud laughing, and that was John Hurt. Oh, the interface is hot, and then Rose goes, "I try my best." Yeah,
some of the jokes in this are good, and they do land a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But there are a couple here and there that don't quite work.
Yeah.
Ones that spring to mind is when they're in the Tower of London, and the security officer says, "This is my first day" or something, and then Kate Lethbridge says, "I've been here 10 years," as sort of like a banter kind of joke. But I don't know if it's the actress's delivery or it just doesn't quite work for me. I know it's a nitpick, but
yeah. For the most part, I would have said I thoroughly enjoyed this episode, but there was one part of humour in it which just made me cringe and was the only part in it that I didn't enjoy, and that was the part where the 11th Doctor kind of goes crazy in front of Osgood and says, "Here, analyse this marble sand. Here, get me a desk, analyse this. Get me a fucking printout. Get me a big essay with graphs on it and what have you." I honestly just sat there cringing for the entirety of that scene. And that was the only moment in this episode where I didn't find myself enjoying it somewhat, because that was just such a poorly done and very cringy moment, I would have said.
See, I didn't mind that too much, really. I can understand why you probably found it really cringe, but I didn't mind it too much. One of the jokes, I don't know if it was meant to be, I guess it was a joke, really, but when Clara says to the Queen Elizabeth guard something like, "Off you pop, or I'll turn your legs into frogs," which is pretending to be a witch.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit of a clunky bit of dialogue there.
And one thing that's really unusual for the humour throughout this episode is that it's at points got a really kind of very weird underlying sexual edge to it, because you've got the sonic screwdriver scene, need I say more, and then you've got the 10th Doctor remarking about how the Zygons are surprisingly good kissers.
Yeah, I mean, that's classic Stephen Moffat innuendo.
Yeah.
Joking.
Yeah, true.
He's known to have those sort of jokes in his episodes.
Yeah.
With his flirtatious female characters all the time.
True.
It's a common Moffat trope, which can be seen in quite a lot of his episodes. I think one problem I do have with the story, I guess it's kind of not really a nitpick, but just a general problem I have, is that I forgot. I'm going to have to research the name, but the actress who played Queen Elizabeth I, I know she's using the main actress from Gavin and Stacey.
Oh yeah.
I think she was miscast in this role.
Yeah, I could see that a bit. Yeah.
It's Joanna Page.
Hmm.
I think she was, in my opinion, miscast in this role. But she wasn't awful or anything. I just think she was miscast.
Yeah.
And she's a great actress, but I don't think she suited this role.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's fucking Welsh, and they put her as the Queen of England.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, even if you don't really know the actress, you can just pick up the Welsh accent.
Yeah.
But there's a problem. It's only a minor problem, because there are a lot I mean, the positives completely outweigh the negatives.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But I can perfectly understand somebody who finds this episode to be overrated, which I guess it sort of is, because it is the 50th.
Yeah.
And it's so hyped up.
Yeah, and people are kind of just getting carried away in the moment.
Yeah, it's still
no pun intended.
Yeah, it's still a great story, nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really have very many problems with it at all. I thoroughly enjoyed it on the whole. But one thing I will say is I do think the story, this itself, should have been a lot longer than it was. Personally, I think we could have something pretty spectacular or special as a two-part, maybe 2.5 hour story, possibly, because there's a lot of potential here and what have you for something so big, so grand, and so epic. It feels kind of truncated and cut down the idea in many ways, and I feel that can be, and I feel like Stephen Moffat was kind of struggling in some areas with kind of trying to get this idea down into one 75-minute episode, because there's like a moment in where they're just going to the cell in the Tower of London, and they pass through this area where the Zygons are working and what have you. And the Queen has this kind of throwaway line of their planet was destroyed during the Time War and I need somewhere to go. I feel like a sequence or so with the Zygons kind of like fighting in the Time War and their planets being destroyed and what have you would have been a really nice kind of inclusion to the story. And I do feel like a lot of the episode in some areas could be kind of greatly extended, as it were, and made even better, personally.
Yeah, it's just I completely agree with that. It's just the whole 75-minute run time.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, like if it was two 75-minute episodes, or maybe even just two 60-minute episodes, it could have been
fleshed out a lot more.
It could have been one of the best bits of Doctor Who, in my opinion, ever, because what is shown here of that kind of idea is incredible, and I absolutely love what is shown of it here, namely all of the Time War stuff, and I love the whole kind of characterial mental path that the Doctor goes down in this episode, that kind of whole psyche he's thinking about of how fucked up am I of a person for killing all of these children on Gallifrey during the Time War whenever I activate the moment. I find that to be a very kind of interesting character avenue in this episode, and is one of the things that I absolutely love about this episode.
Yeah, there's a really great sense of internal struggle with the Doctor in this story, and I think there were some fans that were surprised that they went back to the Time War area, like to the Time War era for the 50th. But it doesn't make sense that with the 50th anniversary special, you kind of have to centre it around Gallifrey.
Yeah, do.
So I can see why they did it. But I know a lot of people have complained that it was basically just a celebration of the new series, which I don't really agree with. But I can see why they would say that.
Mm.
But as I said, how the fuck do you actually fit 50 years of history into 75 minutes?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's impossible.
Yes, so it's like I just find it bizarre when people say, "Oh, we didn't live up to the 50 years." Well, why don't you try writing that kind of story and see how much you can fit into it.
Yeah. I haven't listened to it, but from what I've heard of it, it sounds like Big Finish did a better job of what they were trying to do with the Legacy of Time, with all 8 of the Doctors coming together and what have you, or whatever it was, in the one kind of big story. I know that's a completely different medium and what have you, audio and television, but it does follow a similar path, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, as you said, it's a completely different format of experiencing something.
Yeah.
But I think with audio you can do a lot more with television, and with the constraints of the budget that the BBC tend to have and the 75-minute format.
Yeah.
I think they did the best they could, I think.
Yeah.
And it's great that they actually showed it in cinema as well.
It is, yeah.
Because for the 50th, I can understand, but for Deep Breath, I don't think they needed to show it in the cinema. Even though I went to see it in the cinema,
yeah.
I don't think they needed to do that, really.
And one thing I realised, kind of riding off of one of your previous points there, about how people are saying this was just a celebration of a new series. Well, you've got the classic series with Big Finish and Light at the end.
Yeah, which I think I've listened to half of, but I need to get around to fully listen to that because I've heard it's a bit convoluted.
Yeah, I don't think it's that good personally, but I do need to give it another go personally.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Euclid Briggs is probably the only person who could have wrote that.
Yeah.
Possibly. But I think one of the great things about the story is the actor known as Ken Bones, who played the Gallifreyan general.
Oh, yeah, him.
Who would later on, who would pretty much get fucked over by Steve Moffat in Hellbent.
Oh, yeah.
Completely disrespected. Just for the Doctor to shoot him. But no, he was fantastic in it and perfect to play a Gallifreyan general type character.
Yeah.
He's just got a great voice and great presence.
Definitely.
And I would like, I'd like to hear him on Big Finish. Actually, I think he'd be really good. Overall, it's got a great cast for the most part, apart from Joanna Page
as the Queen. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to say she's bad, but I just think she's miscast. What did you think of the fangirl character?
Oh, Osgood.
Yeah. Me and Joe have just named her the fangirl character.
Yeah,
that's basically what she is.
That is basically what she is. I mean, it's. I love how the episode kind of, in a way, self-acknowledges that she is fan service with Matt Smith going, "Nice scarf."
But she is basically the audience character, I suppose.
Yeah, that is a really good point. Yeah.
Because I know there are films and television shows that have certain characters who are like specifically designed so that the audience can see through them into their world.
Yeah.
But no, I think the actress who plays her, I think she's good, and I think she's really funny. I don't know if you listened to the Unit box set with her in the first one.
I haven't yet. No.
I'd say that was one of my favourite Big Finish releases. I would recommend listening to that because she's great in that.
Oh, nice.
Kate Lethbridge Stewart is better in that as well. So it's good that Steve Moffat created this character, I think, because I know a lot of the fans liked her as well.
Yeah.
and then she came back in Series 8 only to be killed off, I think.
Yeah.
But then she was in Series 9 as well, wasn't she?
I think she might have been, yeah.
She had a Zygon doubles.
Oh, yeah, that's it, because Osgood herself didn't get killed. It was her Zygon double, I think, that got killed, or something like that.
I'm quite glad that they carried that plot thread through into the series after.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And what did you think of the Zygons in the story? Do you think they were utilised?
I think they were pretty well utilised overall, and I do like their integration in the story quite a bit.
I think it worked well, given their because obviously the Zygons are shape-shifting aliens, and I think they did work well in the story.
They did definitely work well in the story, quite a bit as well. And it's interesting how their plot lines, how the two sort of main plot lines sort of intertwine with the Gallifrey technology capturing the Zygons in the paintings, and then they kind of like burst out of them and attack everybody in the story.
Of course, there's that fantastic scene where the three doctors burst through the painting, and that Dalek does as well.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's such an epic moment.
That is such an epic moment, yeah.
And I remember like watching it in cinema and just getting like goosebumps from it.
Mm.
And even though you know that bit where they're walking through the time wall and they're just like they point at their sonics at the Dalek.
Oh yeah, that's amazing, that shot.
Yeah, it's a visually stunning scene.
Mm.
But it just sort of contradicts what the War Doctor says about them pointing the sonics, and he's doing it there.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
He's like saying they're not water pistols or something. But it's as I said, that's only a nitpick, but
yeah,
it's still a fantastic scene.
It's absolutely fantastic. All of the Gallifrey stuff and Time War stuff that Stephen Moffat intertwines within it. And one of the most interesting things about that has to be the painting itself. Gallifrey Falls No More, as its full title is.
It's a great idea, I think. And I think the whole curator scene is great.
Yeah.
I can remember when Tom Baker, his voice, like you could hear his voice. I remember at the cinema, everyone just gasped.
Yeah.
It was amazing, like an amazing moment.
It was.
I saw this like hilarious meme where somebody was talking about when they took their partner to see the 50th, who wasn't a Doctor Who fan. And so they were probably thinking, what the fuck's going on? And
yeah.
then when Tom Baker came on, apparently his partner turned to him and said, who the fuck is this now?
That's amazing. Oh.
I remember like reading that and bursting out laughing, because that is the kind of reaction that somebody who isn't a Doctor Who fan watching this story would get.
Yeah, definitely.
I just thought that was brilliant. But yeah, I think it's really well directed from Nick Horan. I think that's the director's name. I think he also did The Silent of the Daleks as well, which is another a visually stunning episode.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't very good, but it was
mismarketed as well.
Yeah, it was. The poster is great as well. For the 50th.
Definitely.
There's just so much to like about the story. I think the pacing of it is really good.
The pacing's fantastic to it, yeah. Definitely.
It does like allow itself to breathe, like the scenes in the prison. Great character moment for the Doctors.
Yeah. And it's really clever idea of how the calculation's been going on for 400 years. same software, different case. I really like that idea.
And that, even though the Sonic is used as a plot device then, but it plays into a comedic moment afterwards when Clara just bursts through the door.
Mm.
And it does work well together. And
yeah,
I think this was at the point in the show's history where I really liked Clara as a companion, but she later on got worse and worse.
Yeah.
And just would not go away.
Mm.
That's from someone who doesn't like Clara. I don't know what your stance on her is, but
yeah, I think she's an all right companion. Not the best, but pretty good.
I really like the chemistry with Matt Smith, but I just didn't really like it with the 12th Doctor, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, she got on really well with Matt Smith for sure.
Yeah, she was almost like a completely different character with Capaldi.
Mm. Yeah.
But no, I thought she was good in this episode. But it's weird how we just suddenly see her teaching in the first 5 minutes.
It is, yeah.
Which wasn't established before.
True, yeah.
Like, it was never brought up, but I guess it was a nice callback just as an excuse to bring Coal Hill's school back into it.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of Stephen Moffat setting up another arc to do with Clara and later series, I guess you could say.
Mm.
Because wasn't there like bits and pieces about her being a teacher and what have you?
I think so, yeah. It's been a while since I've watched like a lot of the Capaldi stuff.
Same.
But I think that, like, you know, when the three Doctors walking through the Time War and get to the other side of the painting, and then Clara follows shortly after.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's confirmed that Missy actually pushed her in there.
Oh wow, okay.
Because you can see like a hand as she pushes Clara in.
Oh right,
but it's not Clara's hand. I think it's Missy's hand. So she effectively, I don't know how it worked, but she got Clara through the Time War pretty much.
Mm.
I think
there's another thing for Big Finish to do: the War Mistress series.
Oh god, yeah. Well, that'll probably tie into the War Master, which is fantastic, by the way. If you haven't heard that.
Oh yeah.
The War Master is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is. I do like the little board that was seen in the Black Archive where they had all the pictures of like Chameleon and the Brigadier and stuff on it.
Yeah, there's like some parts to that archive, namely one that doesn't make any sense to me at all. There's a particular moment where you can actually glimpse the red and sort of heavy gold-plated Supreme Dalek from the Stolen Earth and Journey's End in like the corner of the room. And I'm just like, how the fuck did I get that? Wasn't that destroyed when the Crucible was blown up? Like,
I don't know. I can understand with the Cyberman helmet because obviously Doomsday and all that.
Oh yeah.
But there was nothing I spotted, and there's like a pair of like red high heels. I don't know if you like on the shelves in the Black Archive.
I didn't notice that. No, that's weird.
Yeah, I was trying to think while watching it. Was there an episode where a certain character had high heels or something?
I think the Angel 2-parter in Series 5.
Oh yeah, that could have been it. That was probably it then.
Yeah.
I think there might have been atom clamps as well from Doomsday.
Yeah, those were in there.
So, a lot of callbacks to different stories, and the perfect bit in the episode where fans could pick out stuff and notice things. And I only spotted Chameleon on the little notice board last night. I didn't notice Chameleon on there before.
Yeah, there's a lot of things crammed into that notice board, and one of the ones that bugs me the most is this picture of where it's two characters in it. One of which I don't know the name of, and the other one is Sarah Kingdom from the Daleks Master Plan, and it's so clearly, and it's so obvious that she's photoshopped onto that photo.
Yeah.
Like, it's so obvious that she's just been whipped up from that picture from the Feast of Stephen, because I believe that's where it originally came from, and just slapped onto that picture of whoever that dandy was. Like, I didn't even recognise that character that she was with in that photo, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's quite nice also just to pause some bits and see if you can pick out little references here and there. Because obviously when you were watching it in the cinema, you were just trying to absorb everything in.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that this wasn't like a rush job, because there were a lot of scenes where it would allow characters to breathe and just slow things down a bit.
Yeah.
Even though the pacing of it didn't affect the pacing at all.
One of the biggest things that I like about it is the Gallifrey stuff, as being a big Gallifrey fanboy. But one of the biggest parts that I like about it towards the end is the curator scene, as it really shows, if you pay attention to the dialogue and what have you in that scene, of how kind of explorative Stephen Moffat was of the Time War, Gallifrey, and the Time Lords in the episode, because the curator himself hints at the fact that he himself obtained the painting, and then there's also hints from the curator himself that Time Lords could potentially regenerate into faces that they've already been in before as a separate incarnation, which is a really nice kind of addition to the Time Lords' whole mythos, I guess you could say. And it very interestingly explains like why the painting was there in the gallery in the first place, whilst adding a nice bit to the sort of Time Lord mythos, as it were, in my opinion.
Yeah, it shows you really did the best you could to try and expand the Gallifrey and Time Lord mythos in this episode, because I think this episode was the perfect episode to do that.
Yeah.
With it being the 50th anniversary special and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there was one particular line that I know a lot of people have picked this up as well, where the curator says that I would just revisit a few of the old favourites.
Oh, yeah.
Which kind of shits on, like, the less popular Doctors.
Yeah, I could kind of see that, yeah. But maybe he's from, like, speaking from the character's own perspective, as it were, his own personal favourite faces, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know if that was intentionally to shit on the other Doctors.
No, I can't imagine it was, considering how much care and attention Moffat put into it.
I think it just came across as being a bit disrespectful, unintentionally.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because as you know, Big Finish have been doing these huge box set series with the Eighth Doctor, and do like 4 box sets per one series. So they've done Dark Eyes, they've done Doom Coalition, they've done the Time War, and the next one is Stranded. And Stranded box set 1 is actually going to have the curator character in it, so in some capacity. So it's because he's on the fucking cover and everything. So it's going to be interesting to see what the hell Big Finish are going to do with the curator in this moment or instance in the 50th anniversary special. It's just going to be interesting to see how they play off what was given about the curator and what he says in the 50th anniversary special. So it's just going to be really interesting, that thing, just to see what Big Finish do with the curator, as it's a very interesting concept presented in this episode that's kind of ripe for exploration at the same time, I would have said.
It's interesting because I do love that Russell T Davies created this whole Time War thing to make the Doctor more interesting and deepen his character a bit.
Yeah.
And I'd say the Ninth Doctor is probably the deepest, well, the character incarnation that has the most depth, in my opinion.
Yeah, he definitely.
Maybe there's Seventh Doctor as well, I suppose.
Mm.
But it just, because Big Finish should keep on making more and more stories set in this universe, but at a particular point in history.
Yeah.
And it just shows that there's so much you can do with this era of the show.
Definitely.
I do sort of wonder what original series fans who grew up with the original series, I do sort of wonder what they thought of that concept being brought into the show and how that almost completely changed the character, but still remained true to the core elements of the program.
Yeah.
I do sort of wonder what they felt of how they felt about that at the time. Because the Time War the Time War era has so much you can do with it.
Yeah. And I really like it, like the Time War as a concept as well, because it just makes you wonder what the hell the Doctor was doing in between the events of the TV movie and Series 1, counting those as canon, if you really think about it, which is kind of explored a bit more within this episode, as well as Night of the Doctor as well, and in other bits and pieces, such as the War Doctor series from Big Finish, I guess you could say, which I need to listen to. And novels like Engines of War.
Yeah, this is the first box of War Doctor, and that was good.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that Big Finish is still coming up with new ideas for.
It is, yeah.
Set in that universe.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of exploration possible, because I mean they've done the Eighth Doctor in the Time War. They've done the War Doctor in the Time War. Obviously, they've also done the War Master as well. And then there's there's also Gallifrey Time War, which has popped up as well. So there's a lot to it, and I'm very happy that area of the show is getting attention by Big Finish, because it's a very great concept created by Russell T Davies and further expanded upon by Stephen Moffat, and I'm just so happy that it's being explored more by Big Finish and the books to an extent with Engines of War.
Yeah, it's definitely in an era that has so many endless possibilities to it.
Definitely.
And it's just crave for some really epic stories. And I'm surprised they haven't done a fucking River Song Time War box set yet.
Yeah.
Because there's so many. I think ever since they've got the license of the new series, Big Finish that is, they've just come up with so many great ideas.
They do, definitely.
But I guess you could argue that they have milked some ideas as well.
Yeah, then there's some that people don't even ask for, like a Paternoster Gang series. Say what you will about them. Or Jenny.
Or a New Earth box set.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Which I can't imagine sold.
No.
That whole idea just seems to me like let's just make a little bit extra of cash.
Maybe somebody at the Big Finish offices is a furry and just wanted more stories with fucking cat people or something. Who knows?
So I actually don't hate or mind New Earth. I know there are fans that really don't like it.
Yeah.
I can't see why, really, because I just think it's fine.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in ages, but I remember it being all right.
Yeah, I remember liking it, and I think I still do like it. I just can't see where all the hate comes from.
It is a bit of a weird and silly story with the kind of body swap and what have you.
Effectively a runaround story, pretty much. But the time aspect of the 50th anniversary special is great, and it does make sense because, as I said, you can't really do the 50th anniversary and not have Gallifrey featured somewhat.
Yeah, true, and I'm quite happy with how it was the main centre focus, as it really does employ some clever expansions and speculative bits of mythology, the curator, to the sort of Gallifrey stuff, I would have said personally.
Yeah, definitely, and I love the idea that Gallifrey was lost, and it gave the Doctor a new motivation to try and find it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that was sort of ruined by Hal Bent.
Yeah.
Which is the most disappointing plot thread conclusion, I suppose.
Yeah, it's
the whole of Doctor
Who. Hellbent is just Stephen Moffat shitting over the entire history of the show, because if you think about it, every single fucking character death in the entire fucking show has been rendered to nothing because of what was established in that thing.
Yeah, and as I said before, Ken Burns got fucked over.
Yeah.
And even Peter Capaldi and the entire cast did, really.
Yeah.
It was a terrible script.
Yeah.
And it's just baffling to see how Heaven Sent and Hal Bent were written by the same person.
Yeah, that is... It's hilarious how those two episodes follow each other, directly next to each other in Series 9, because it really shows how good Stephen Moffat can be and how terrible he can be.
Yeah,
it's just so funny to see the polar opposites of Stephen Moffat so goddamn close to one another in such a short space of time.
It's such a love-hate relationship with
it. It is, yeah.
Because he's written some absolutely stellar stories, but he's also written some pretty horrible atrocities.
Yeah, definitely.
It's quite amusing, really.
I would maybe say that he isn't as bad as some people make him out to be.
No.
I would say up to the 50th anniversary special, he was really good. But then, with a few exceptions, like Angels Take Manhattan, for example.
Oh yeah, that was.
And maybe some of Series 6 as well, with The Wedding of River Song.
Yeah, I do like that series on the whole.
Yeah, I quite like it as well. I think it's alright, but when you get to
underrated.
Yeah, but when you get to kind of Series 8 territory, his writing just goes off the rails, really, because you've got Death in Heaven, Hellbent. Every single Christmas special he wrote around that point.
They get worse and worse.
Yeah,
Husbands of Renaissance.
Last Christmas is all right.
Yeah, there's a bit of an Alien rip-off though.
Yeah, some people called it an Inception rip-off, which was interesting, and I could definitely see that.
Shock horror! I haven't actually seen that film yet.
And oh wow, it's really good. I remember going to see it at the cinema.
It's by one of my favourite directors, so
Christopher Nolan.
Weird how I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and then Return of Dr. Mysterio. I think some people are still trying to figure out what the hell they just watched.
Yeah, I enjoyed it when I first watched it. kind of weird how they got the guy from Dragon Ball Z in it. Well, the Dragon Ball Z film.
Oh yeah, that's weird. It's just,
which apparently is awful.
It's like a fucking fever dream by Stephen Moffat, I guess you could say, the return of Doctor Mysterio. Like,
yeah, I haven't watched it since broadcast, so I can't exactly say what I liked and disliked about it, because I just can't remember fuck all on it.
I'm just still baffled by it to this day, to be honest with you.
It's a very different Doctor Who story.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know if you know a Doctor Who YouTuber called Terry Leptal.
I think I've heard of them, yeah.
You might have stumbled across. She's got great YouTube. She doesn't do many videos these days, I don't think. But that's her favourite Doctor Who story of all time.
What, the return of Doctor Mysterio?
Yeah.
That's weird. Well, people
have... the fact she loves all eras of the show, like all mediums or whatever, and that's her favourite story.
Yeah, that's really bizarre. Like,
but each of their own, I suppose.
Yeah. Like, I know some kind of YouTubers are out there and what have you have kind of unusual choices for their favourite Doctor Who stories. Like, I know who was 2013's favourite Doctor Who stories, Battlefield. Fair enough.
Oh yeah, I know you don't like that.
It's okay, but
yeah. I guess maybe it might be because of nostalgia or something, but
maybe.
Yeah, I think overall the 50th is a great episode, and as I said, the positives completely outweigh the negatives.
Yeah, definitely.
And even the negatives are minor nitpicks, really.
Yeah, they are.
And I still really enjoy it. I think I was worried that, watching it again, I was worried that I was going to dislike it. Not going into it wanting to dislike it, but I was worried that it would differ my opinions on a second time watch, but I still love it just the same, really.
I wasn't really sure what I was expecting from watching it again earlier today, because when I last watched it a couple of years ago, I thought it was all right, had some pretty good stuff to it, but on the whole, I kind of love it, to be honest, with my recent watch today.
Yeah, it's a great special, and I think they did the best they could with the constraints and not having Eccleston back.
Yeah.
It's such a shame that he that he couldn't come back.
Yeah.
But it's understandable why he didn't want to at that time.
Yeah.
I know John Hurt's great in it. Everyone's great in it apart from Joanna Page, as I've said.
Yeah.
I think because I was going to have the feeling that you might not have enjoyed it as much as you did the first time round. I don't know why I had that feeling, but it seems like you enjoy it as well. So.
I think because you rated it a 7 out of 10, didn't you say?
Yeah.
Or,
I think a solid 7 is, I think, about right, because I do have quite a few minor nitpicks with it, but no minor nitpicks. So.
I don't really have very many problems with it personally. It's just that I feel like it's a very, as I mentioned earlier, a very restrained Doctor Who story. It would have been a lot better as like a 2 to 2.5 hour multi-part epic of a Doctor Who story with a lot more of the ideas fleshed out, such as the Zygon planet being ruined by the Time War and what have you.
I think that's probably what name of the Doctor should have been.
Yeah, a lot of the parts of the story could have been a bit better. Could have been a lot more fleshed out. Some of the humor could have been cut down. But on the whole, I kind of love it, really. I can kind of see some of its shortcomings and what have you, but for what it is, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I'm just kind of sad that it isn't a lot longer than it is, because it feels like Stephen Moffat was on the brink of creating something truly, truly incredible to do with the Gallifrey Time War stuff here because of what he was able to implement within it, which kind of makes me wish that it was a bit longer. But on the whole, I would still give it an 8 out of 10 because I just wish it was a lot longer. But for what it is, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I can easily see myself returning to it in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad story at all. I think I said to you when I was watching it, it's weird watching it, knowing that John Hurt is sadly no longer with us. Because I think that I haven't watched it that many times, I don't think.
I'm not sure. This might have been my 5th time, maybe?
Yeah. I remember when me and Joe watched it together, like the cinema.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had it on record at home, and because he was staying around my house, I think. When we got home, we just watched it again.
Oh, right, fair.
Because I think it was just all the hype and everything, and then the 5-ish Doctors came out straight after, which was great as well.
Right. To be honest, I haven't watched that. That's like one of the major things from the 50th anniversary that I haven't seen. So.
I haven't seen the 5-ish Doctors.
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, it's great. You should watch it. It's great. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but it's worth watching because it's written and directed by Pete Davidson.
Oh, nice. It is within the 50th anniversary collector's edition set, so we'll be able to watch it that way.
It's only about 7 minutes long, I think. It's only a little short, but it's got everyone's in it, and it's just good fun. But yeah, I think the 50th, I'd still probably give it a 7. I think it's better.
I personally think my fairest rating for it is an 8 out of 10 because it's on the brink of being something absolutely incredible with all of the Gallifrey stuff, and for that part of the show, I would have said it's just a shame. It's
fleshing out a bit more. Really.
Yeah, definitely. Like as I said, I feel like it could have worked very well as like a 2.5-hour Gallifrey sort of Time War epic with the Zygon plot being a bit more fleshed out and what have you, because I can easily see the Zygon plot working a lot better than it did in this. Not to say that it didn't work well in this, because it works fantastically in this, I would have said, but it could have worked a lot better if the overall story and idea was a bit more fleshed out, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely could have benefited from maybe 10 or more 15 minutes. But overall, what it was still really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. It's a fantastic thing. And as a big lover of Gallifrey and sort of the Time War stuff, I will cherish this thing because I think it's absolutely fantastic. And with regards to all of that stuff, in fact, I think all of that stuff in this special is like 10 out of 10 worthy, personally. I just love all of that kind of Gallifrey stuff it explores in this, and all of the ideas and what have you Stephen Moffat brings to the table, and how he expands upon the Time War and the Gallifrey continuity and what have you. I think it's just absolutely incredible what he does in this special with that concept.
I remember, I think there is one element to the story, it's only a tiny little element, but kind of a massive one at the same time, is that the Capaldi cameo.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which I remember everyone just like lost their minds in the cinema.
Yeah.
Because it was just like a sneak preview pretty much for the next series.
Yeah, like...
Everyone's like lost.
Yeah. I wonder if that's one of the only times that an audience has completely lost it just because of character eyes.
Yeah, and eyebrows.
Yeah, because all we get to see is his fucking eyes and eyebrows.
But no, we do hear his voice as well.
Oh,
when he says all 13.
Oh, was that him?
Sorry?
No, I thought that was one of the Gallifrey people that's saying that.
No, that was Capaldi.
Was it? Wow.
Because he says it, and then it proceeds to a shot of his eyes.
Nice.
So I think I'm just like lost their shit.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. The new series really has had a lot of moments like that. Like the reveal of the first Doctor, David Bradley, at the end of series 10. Like, watching reaction videos and what have you on YouTube is, for that particular moment, is kind of amazing, just to see how fucking crazy people were going over that reveal. And I just remember watching it on original transmission and just being like, oh my god. Like,
I guess a similar moment is, even though the BBC released it because fucking DWSR leaked it, was the Johnson thing.
Oh yeah.
Even though they announced he was coming back, just seeing him again was great.
And
it's still quite a shocking moment because it was like 10 years since we last saw him.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. Yeah, I still love the 50th anniversary. I don't think there'll ever come a time when I probably won't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad. I mean, I am interested in what kind of story Russell T Davies would have come up with. But I can't imagine it would have been that different to what we got.
No. Yeah.
Probably would have played along the same sort of ideas. Somebody should actually tweet Russell T Davies and just ask him what would have been your 50th anniversary special.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see what he would have done about it.
And I think this story was actually the second tweet-along to lockdown tweet-alongs.
Oh, nice.
So it's glad that... Have you read the Target novelisation for this story?
No, but I would really like to, actually, now, considering my new adoration for it.
It is really good. And it basically establishes that the Peter Cushing Doctor is canon. I think was it actually the Rose Target? One of them establishes that the Peter Cushing Doctor is canon.
Wow, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, I think I've got a feeling it might have been to do with Rose and the scene in Clive's shed.
That is so fucking hard to wrap my head around, because he refers to the companions in the movie as Ian, Susan and Barbara, doesn't he?
So is there like two versions of them?
What?
Or was it a parallel universe Doctor? I don't know.
Or maybe that Ian, Susan and Barbara. Or maybe Ian, Susan and Barbara are Time Lords as well. And Ian and Barbara are like chameleon arcs or something.
It's very bizarre. And I remember reading it thinking, what the fuck?
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I would recommend the Target novelisation.
Yeah.
Even though it is basically a massive fan wank, it's still entertaining to read.
Yeah. I heard Stephen Moffat can be very Stephen Moffat.
It's where, okay, is that him being a bit egotistical or pretentious? There are a couple of moments like that, but overall it's quite a good read.
I definitely would like to check it out. It's pretty big for a Target book, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think it's because it's the 50th anniversary, like, special. It has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you got any more, like, things to say on it, or any other bits of what you liked?
I'm not quite sure, really. I think I've said all that I would like to say. But just mainly love this special because of all of the Gallifrey stuff, as I've mentioned, and it's just fantastic for that stuff.
Yeah, it's full of great ideas, and it brings new elements to the show.
Definitely.
New ideas, and it does push the series going forward with the whole finding Gallifrey plot thread.
Yeah, it's a real big turning point in the new series. Thinking about it, because you've got that Clara stuff being a teacher, which was later expanded upon. You've got that whole hint of Peter Capaldi and what have you coming on. And
yeah, so thankfully it wasn't just like a forgettable throwaway episode.
No, it was very kind of meaningful with regards to the canon of Doctor Who, as it were, particularly the new series iteration and establishmental aspects of it.
Yeah, it's just a really clever bit of writing, really.
It is, yeah.
And I have full respect to Stephen Moffat for giving us what he did and the pressure that he was under.
Yeah.
And I think he certainly delivered.
I honestly probably think that the Gallifrey Time War stuff is probably, in this episode, is probably some of Stephen Moffat's best work, personally. I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I think what he was able to do and what he brought to the show as well.
Yeah.
It's actually quite incredible.
It is, yeah. And I haven't released these videos yet, but mainly because they've taken quite a long time to get out onto the channel. But I say in the third part of my Doctor Who DVD collection series, mini-series, which is coming up, which is my Blu-rays and the modern section, that I kind of stop around when Russell T Davies left. I'm honestly, with regards to the new series, because it became too inconsistent for me to really love afterwards, but part of me kind of wants to change that up to the 50th anniversary, because I really, really do love what Stephen Moffat did in this special. But then again, 6 and 7 with regards to series are pretty inconsistent on the whole.
Yeah, I think that's another point to make about the Moffat era as a whole. It's a lot of the time inconsistent.
Yeah, like series 5, really good on the whole, and I would maybe say series 10 is good as well, but the rest is just mixed bags.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I do like series 6, but the others are just...
They kind of range from being good to average, in my opinion.
Yeah, apart from Heaven Sent, there's not many standout stories, really.
Yeah, definitely. And
a lot of them pretty forgettable.
And it's interesting to watch the progression of Stephen Moffat throughout Doctor Who, because over time he just cared less and less about the show, which I also pointed out in my third part of the DVD series. One of the biggest examples of this is the Weeping Angels. He started them off really well in Blink as these really kind of creepy, amazing creations. Then he made them a little less scary, I would have said, by seeing them moving in the Weeping Angel 2-parter, which is still pretty good, I would have said. But the Weeping Angels are kind of made less scary. And then you have fucking Angels Take Manhattan, where it seems like Stephen Moffat just completely forgot what the Weeping Angels were, even though he wrote the Weeping Angel 2-parter, Blink, Angels Take Manhattan, and he also created the Weeping Angels as well.
Even though because there is that fucking statue that's made from fucking
Copper.
Yeah.
As a weeping angel.
Which are made of stone. So it defies all logic. But,
yeah. It's just so weird, and like maybe a rip-off of Ghostbusters thinking about it, because wasn't there like a moving Statue of Liberty in that?
I haven't seen Ghostbusters in years.
Oh, right, fair enough.
I think you're probably right. Yeah. Overall, I think the Moffat era is good for the most part.
Yeah, I think it's decent for the most part, just pretty inconsistent. With a few really bad episodes in there.
Oh yeah, there's a handful of shockers.
Yeah.
Stinkers.
Yeah, like Twice Upon a Time, or
Hellbent, and
Death in Heaven.
The list could go on a
bit.
But I think Moffat did stay a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Showrunner.
I think he did, yeah, definitely.
I think he should have left around series
maybe
8.
Yeah, series 8 sounds about right.
Yeah, I think I can't really think of much more else to say, really.
I can't really think of much more else to say either. I'm just really happy with what we were given here, and I just absolutely love it. I'm kind of honestly conflicted between an 8 and an 8 or a 9 out of 10 on this story, because what I love to it, I absolutely love, but it's just held back by quite a few things, which makes me want to give it an 8, but parts of me do want to give it like a 9 out of 10 on the whole as well. It's one of the most difficult Doctor Who stories to rate, in my opinion, because it has so much to it that I absolutely adore, but it's held back by quite a few things.
Yeah, like a couple of bad jokes here and there.
Yeah.
A miscast character, in my opinion. Yeah, for me, I think a 7 is about right. Also, 7.5.
Fair enough. I think I'm going to stick with an 8 out of 10, as I think that's like the fairest rating I can give it, without being like too biased towards like one strand of the episode.
In my opinion, I don't know if this will sound controversial, but I think, in my opinion, this is the best multi-Doctor story.
You could be right with that, yeah.
I think they're all good. The 3 Doctors, not so much.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit...
Probably the weakest one, I think.
Yeah.
Because I love the 2 Doctors and I love the 5 Doctors. But I think Day of the Doctor is probably the best one.
Yeah. I still need to watch the 2 Doctors, so I can't say that definitively, but...
Oh, it's a great story, though. It's really good.
So far, I would agree with you on that Day of the Doctor is probably the best 50th anniversary special of that multi-Doctor story.
Yeah. That could potentially anger some original series fans, but as fans who grew up watching the new series, I think...
Yeah.
I can just imagine original series fans just screaming. But no, in my humble opinion, the Day of the Doctor is the best one.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But that's not to disrespect all the other multi-Doctor stories.
Like, both rounds of the show are good in their own right. It's just that
there are some fans out there.
Yeah, it's just that the new series needed to be greatly updated. Quite a bit.
Differentiate between the original show that people would laugh at. Really. Yeah,
and there's definitely times in the classic series that definitely wouldn't have happened today. Like there's as I pointed out to you the other day, in episode 7 of the Daleks' Master Plan, The Feast of Stephen, the Doctor literally says, oh, this place is a madhouse. It's all full of Arabs. Like, that would not happen today without fucking question, because that is such an unbelievably racist moment in classic Doctor Who. I mean, it came out in 1965, but still, like.
Surprised they got away with it then.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got away with it then as well. And it makes no sense as well, because that part was set in the 1920s in that Hollywood movie set. They wouldn't even let black people into that movie set in the 1920s, would they?
Probably not.
No. But either ways, I think overall, Day of the Doctor is a great multi-Doctor special, 50th anniversary special in quotation marks, because it's not that much of a 50th anniversary special, but at the same time, for what it is, I absolutely love it personally, and I will cherish it for years to come. I think it's a fantastic inclusion to the vast canon of Doctor Who, and is an absolutely incredible extension to one of my favourite eras of the show and moments of the show, the Gallifrey and Time War stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most memorable Doctor Who episodes, just because, not just because it's the 50th, just because it's a great episode.
Yeah,
and there's a lot to appreciate in it.
Definitely.
And, I think I've pretty much said all I need to, really. I can't think anything else, unless I'll just end up repeating myself.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I could go on about this episode for...
We could go on about this episode for ages, but the live stream right now is ever so slightly longer than the episode itself somehow. But
I don't know if you want to, if you've got more, because I don't mind how long the stream goes on for, because there is a lot of things to talk about in it.
I think I've just covered like the main things I would like to in this discussion stream. I would have said, like, all of the Gallifrey stuff and what have you, is the kind of main reasoning as to why I really like this story and cherish it so much. So I'm kind of just happy ending it here if you want.
Yeah, I think we've covered it as much as possibly can.
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, that's 7 out of 10, 7.5. I think it's fair.
I give it an 8 out of 10 personally, which I think's fair for it, without being too biased towards the part of it that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's it, really.
Yeah, that's it, really. So, like, fair, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this big discussion stream on the 50th anniversary special, the Day of the Doctor. Do you want to say goodbye, Harry?
Goodbye, and thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for watching. Good night. But that went